Good evening, Madam friends. Two weeks ago, there were two members, little boy and little girl, in the Buddhist Scout. He moved to Texas. So we dedicate all day for them, all activities for them. At the very end, the girl was like 13 years old. The boy was like 10 years old. At the end, the girls felt sad. They hugged each other and they cried a lot. I mean, literally, they cried. Almost brought me in tears too. Next week, upon that event, I gave them a little talk. And I do congratulate them for having the first experience of suffering. This is the subject that's why you're here, I think. Buddhism, they emphasize a lot about suffering. They classify it into 8 kinds of sufferings. The suffering of birth, suffering of getting old, suffering of getting sick, suffering of death, suffering of departing loved ones, suffering of attaching to fields, and suffering of the 5 aggregates. I'm a male, so I don't know how painful to give birth. So, physical pain, the mother that about to give birth, and the physical pain about the child that coming through the canal, coming out. So it's really painful. Getting old. The moment that you become, even the moment of you become the concept at the conception begins, the 2 chemicals, the eggs and the sperms come together, making it a becoming, then we become getting old. We don't realize that. We learn that when you hit to some certain age, and then you become downhill at age of 32 or something, I don't know. But every day, every moment, we get old, and we're not aware of that. And during the process of getting old, we get sick. I don't know that there's anybody that has not been sick. And then there's come the disposal. We all got to be through during that process. and being disposed of. If it is not us right now, then something else, someone else, someone that we loved. And because of that, we feel the emotional pain. And then there come to the suffering of what we want, and it didn't turn out the way that we wanted. When you're still single, you want to have an intimate relationship. And when you get into a relationship, you want to getting married. And then when you want to get it, when you were into the marriage already, and then you wanted to divorce. During the process, anything that doesn't turn out the way you wanted, the desire that you wanted, you become suffering. And then you suffer with the change of the 5 aggregates. 20 years ago that I felt very good, but now I got downhill a lot, quite a bit. And as I remember that in my 20s, I pick up a 100-pound object, piece of cake. When I became a monk, I did a lot of construction, and I brought I carry a lot of 60 pounds of cement, and it was okay until that last 5 years. When I look at the 60 pounds cement, holy moly, don't want to touch it anymore. So this physical body turned old, changing, and together with that, the sensation, I don't have the endurance like I used to before. I remember my first retreat in Burma. The condition was barely minimal standard. Got sick twice. I mean, serious. One is diarrhea. One was stomachache. Both of them, they weren't any kind of medicine to treat, but I overcome that because I was still strong. But now, any condition of that I cannot endure it anymore. I can feel it right away. And then a change of perceptions. This is funny. Still, my second retreat in Burma. Every morning, I tag along with the group, went for alms food. The first young lady that we met is close by the temple. And she did not smile to anyone, but when I came, she smiled at me. It was taking place so many times that I get attached to. And then I have a crazy idea that I'm going to court her, I'm going to marry her, I'm going to bring her to the United States. The proliferation thought, keep proliferating. And it has been like, I remember, it's like 2 days of that. And then the next day, I came, and same thing, same young lady smiling at me. But now, my perception completely changed. Holy moly, macaroni, she looks so something, and I don't want this. It's really funny. It's really funny. Before, I was thinking about her a lot and trying to do a lot of things for her. And then the next day, it totally changed. And if you actually pay attention to your mental emotion every day, every moment, you're going to see that it's changing all the time. I don't know how many times that myself turned into love, that I just want to hug people, and then the next 5 minutes I want to just punch someone in the face. That was true for my case. I'm not making it out at all. It happened here. Yes. So. And that's for perception, and then, of course, the volition that mental processing is a crazy one. I don't want to go into the consciousness. But the most of all, as I still remember, it was more than 30 years ago. The first Dharma Talk that I actually listened, and I did listen for, I think it was 2 seconds. He was talking about something, but only one word that rang the bell in me was that dissatisfaction. The whole talk I didn't pay attention, but come to that word, dissatisfaction. Somehow it rang the bell in me, and all I remember is that dissatisfactory. As you are here, there's something dissatisfied in you, and that's why you're here. You want to become. When that becoming has not happened yet, you suffer. We feel suffering within, and we want to change it. dissatisfaction is suffering. Wanting to change that is suffering. Wanting to become free from suffering is suffering. So every which way you turn, there is a suffering. I remember that I have shared with you or someone else that some times ago that every which way I turn, I feel suffer. And one good thing about suffering is that in Theravada tradition, they label suffering as one wisdom. If you recognize the suffering, it is a wisdom. It's not something that you underlook or you overlook it. Someone came to great master Ajahn, asked him that, why do you have so much wisdom? He turned around, smiled at her, because I have a lot of suffering. So one good aspect of the suffering is that you gain the wisdom. Suffering means unpleasant. I don't know that if you learn anything about pleasant at all, because instead of pleasant, you ride along with that feeling. You indulge yourself in that mental state, and then you don't know anything, but you enjoy that kind of feeling. So therefore, you don't learn anything about pleasure, but come to displeasure. You can feel it right away that it changed the body temperature, and then mentally that you want to get rid of that. There are a lot of going on, with displeasure. In the Buddhist Sutra, they said that suffering is Bodhi. Bodhi means awakening. So in suffering there is an element of awakening. So don't ignore that. Don't push it aside. Watch that. Make it into profitable. Make it into productive. As I can see that when we sit here for half an hour, of course that the level of discomfort comes as the time gets longer and longer. That's one kind of suffering too. But we learn from that. Suffering gives you a lot of teachings. The suffering of the body, and then mental suffering. It's just because of you want to become not suffering, and therefore you suffer. What's wrong with suffering? If you see that the discomfort here compared to the Ukraine people that keep, being aware of when the next missile is gonna drop on their head, which one's more worse? So we're here means nothing. Our suffering is nothing compared to them. They're constantly in fear that I'm gonna die in the next moment, which I don't know. Suffering is a mental factor that intrinsically built into the mind. So as long as you are a human being, you are a conscious being, you are a sentient being, you're entitled, you're subject to suffer. As we are all here, we want to find a way out. There are many, many ways to get rid of suffering, physical wise or mentally wise. Many, many ways. My way is that I introspect everything. I mean everything, especially mental process. And I consider that suffering is part of me. It's not part of me, it's a naturally, inherent nature of the mind, so there's no way we can get rid of it, there's no way that I can push it aside or such and such. So I took it as my regular basic, just like that I have meals every day. So if there is a suffering that arises in my mind, okay, that's another part of my meal. I don't run away with it. And actually, I feel good when, when it comes, because I have a chance to learn about suffering. I have a chance to learn about my own mind. I did not underlook the pleasantness too. When it comes, like I told you that sometimes that I'm in love, that I just want to hug anyone that I saw. Actually, that today it happened like 2 times or 3 times that I just want to knock on the abbot's door and give him a hug. I don't know why. And then I'm aware of that too. And then I acknowledge that this mental compassion is part of life, just like suffering. So because of my practice, my daily practice is that I introspect, the totality of the mind. Keep watching the mind, keep watching. You ever ask yourself that, is there any time that you are not aware? Is there a time that you're not? Is there a time that you don't exist? No. As long as this body is still intact, whereas the mind can manifest through, then you're aware, then you exist. And that awareness, that existence, is the door to freedom. Last Saturday, I attended a religious conference about peace among religions. I watched 5 presentations: Buddhism, Protestant, Sikhism, Muslim, and someone else. But none of them get into the core of how to become peace. After the 5 presentations, we divided into small groups, and then they discussed about the lectures. Still again, I brought the subject. How do you attain peace? If you're talking peace, but how do you attain it? And none of them can say anything. And then I brought the subject of dissatisfaction. Oh, because of that. I don't say that they don't know such and such. Sometimes I myself that I feel lucky that I go into the subject by the core. I don't go around. And go into the subject by the core is up to watch your own mind. That's it. That's it. Putting dissatisfied about what he wanted, and then the thing didn't come out the way he wanted, and therefore he invaded Ukraine. If he know how to watch himself, then none of that would happen. Maybe you can erase this part. I don't want the missile that fly from there come direct and drop down. You know? So, but that's the way it is. That's the way it is. It's so simple to me that if you can see that, and then you can solve the problem, the whole world's problem, just seeing that you can deal with your own, dissatisfaction, and that's it. So, it's part of human nature. And then we go deeper, one level that dissatisfaction is a mental factor too. It's just like love, just like hate. It's dissatisfaction. So when they come, you treat them as your own meal, everyday meal, then no problem. Going back to being free. when I start Buddhism, when I start, going here and there to study meditation, I didn't know that nobody told me, or they have told me already before, but because of I didn't have wisdom before, and therefore I didn't recognize it. It's very simple. If you don't attach, there you're free. Very simple. It's so simple. You don't have to go, 10,000 miles away, coming over there, eating the food that's not with your taste, sleep on the concrete floor, hot as hell over there. Every afternoon that I have to pour water on the concrete floor and then sleep on that. And they don't allow anything. So you go out, you went into the town, you buy what? You buy a little fan. The fan that they took out from a computer, that tiny little fan, took out a computer. You use that for your own fan. That's one kind of suffering too. So you don't have to go that far if you know how to detach yourself. One more thing. The whole meditation hall, about 3 times this size or 4 times this size. They have fans too. But none of that worked. Because of, they said that if we turn it on, we have to pay for electricity. So a Korean man agreed upon that, so he turned the fan right where he sat. And I was sitting close by him, and that it felt like heaven when you have that little moving air upon you. It felt so good. But again, if you don't attach, very simple. That freedom is right there. Freedom from becoming. If you come here, you want to become enlightened, then you're in a bind of suffering. If you come here in aspiration to become a Buddha, you suffer. When you drop, you become in completely. What else? Completely empty from within. Right there is freedom. That's it. Very simple. Extremely simple. So, I hope that you don't become anything. Anything you'd like to share, please share.
So I have a question about attachment or detachment. If you become detached, doesn't that look like you don't care anymore?
You do care, but within that care there is no attachment. You are still who you are. It's not that you don't become anything and then you don't do anything. No, it's not. It's who you are. You function exactly who you are, but there is no attachment to it. That's the beauty of detachment. Detachment doesn't mean that you become a good for nothing. You still are a good for something without attachment. And when we understand that concept, life is so easy, life is so beautiful. Even death. Can you see the beauty within death? Can you see the beauty of it? If you can see it, then you are about to be non-attached. I don't know, but somehow that I can sense that you become more matured. It's not because you're here and then I try to murder you so you can come back. It's not like that. It's not. But the process of the mind is that it goes this. Even though the graphic, sometimes it goes up and down like this, but it's in the linear way, it goes in one direction. And that direction that brought you here you are about to become free. I don't know why I say that. I don't know, but I can feel that. When I'm up here, it happened that it just this is something that I cannot describe, and it's not a speculation. It's not. You are about to be free. That's how I feel about you. Your spirituality becomes more mature. It's not because of you're here, because of the condition in the past lives, your individual conditioning, your collective conditioning of all of us, and that made you to come here. You have turned yourself inward already, and from that's why I feel that you are going to be free. That inwardness, be aware of your own internal self, is a major step. It's a totally major step. There are so many PhDs out there, but they don't know how to turn themselves inward. And here, just an ordinary being, but we realized that there's something going on. Therefore, we turn inward. And that turning inward is a very, very important milestone for you to walk further.
So when you turn inward, you're working on yourself.
Yes, your own self.
So how do you make another person believe that you're still here, you still care, you're still aware of them, but sometimes you go quiet? It's because you're sitting here just resting. That's what I do, is when I sit quiet, I'm not talking all the time, I'm resting. I'm working inside myself. It's not like I'm pissed off and I'm not talking. But some people think I don't care, that I'm withdrawn, that that there's something. So I have to make sure that my friend or whoever, like I'm not taxing them, that they feel like I'm still here. I'm still aware of them.
Yes, of course, that.
So I guess it's a balance.
It's a process. It's a process. Here, if I don't talk on Wednesday, perhaps the whole week I don't talk at all.
Mm-hmm.
I see the monks. I chant. I don't count chanting as a talking activity. In terms of communication one to another, almost I don't talk at all.
It's very peaceful, isn't it?
It's very peaceful, and if other your friends, whoever, wonder why you do that, and then you can say that you can tell them that you only speculate for what I do. You don't know that sometimes I'm joking around that if you have the psychic power that you can see my mind, then you can judge. Otherwise, that your speculation is wrong. Don't expect. Again, we go back to expectation, we go back to desire, saying that, why don't you talk to me? Why don't you behave this way, this way, this way, this way? I don't have to. I don't have to in a way that if I see the situation is not productive, I would rather not talking. In that way, sometimes they think that being quiet creates some tension, atmosphere, but no, it's not. It's not. It's just the way that when I'm in the mode of quietness, I watch myself. And if they don't realize that, they don't understand that, it's their problem. That's all. Through actions, you can show your care through actions. And that physical action, other people should have acknowledged that too. Just like that, I don't talk, but that doesn't mean that I don't cook. I do cook for them. So through action. So it's a way, and it's very artistic, extremely artistic. To be interactive with others. It's very artistic.
I think for me is I always keep my promise. That's my way of showing I care.
Mm-hmm.
So if I make a promise, I will do everything I can to keep that promise.
Okay, that's great.
So that's, I mean, if they're good friends, then they will recognize that. Sometimes I go quiet because I'm an introvert. So.
Yeah. I myself introvert, a lot. I introvert. I live within myself a lot. In the morning, I woke up. I'm in the task of doing something in the morning. I wake up, around 4 o'clock, and then they know that I'm inside because the lights are on, and that's it. That's it. And then sometimes you have to make known to them that this is the way that who you are. That's all. It just make known to them that this is the way you are. Sometimes to live with your true self, which means that you don't have to fake that. I love you so much, but with an inside, you are son of a bitch. I don't fake myself in such a situation. If I have to react, I do react. But within that reaction, I learn, and that's why I love about reactions. The Buddha said that someone asked him about, if you enter Nibbana, who's going to be our teacher? And he said that your own self-teacher is the best, because you know yourself the most. Nobody knows. What happened in the mind, you know it, and therefore you are your own teacher. Very easy. So, in the moment of quietness, during my time in Burma, there was a young American lady. I observed. I have an eagle eye, so I look around a lot. I observed her. She doesn't talk to anyone. No. If she have a time of quiet, if she have a time of not within the schedule, she sat by herself here and there, contemplated something, and she doesn't communicate. And when you look at her, then you say, what a strange thing that you practice, but actually she withdrew herself into the practice, into her own contemplation. And sometimes we do have a chance to talk. Then I saw that her depth. She is very depth. So respect the territory of others, just like that. When I don't communicate, that doesn't mean that I don't respect. It's just that I keep myself, my own territory, and I keep themselves their own territory. We're all in the mode of practicing. Because of one patriarch taught that soon as you open your mouth, you're lost. I can experience that a lot too, because of you have to, for those experienced one, words just come flowing out through without thinking. Thinking becomes subject, become an object, and then you lost yourself in that object. Right there, called, you are lost. But being, contained within yourself, that you're aware of what's going on, then you're not lost. That is the right practice. Use this kind of measurement. If you become peace to yourself, if you become content to yourself, if you get happier, then you're on the right track. Even though that you content to yourself, you still, you still being grumpy. That is where you are right now. But you are in still the process of grumpy, and then happy. It comes. I guarantee 1,000 times upon that. Yeah. It's just like that. You experience suffering, and then non-suffering, then happy. It comes. You are not subject to be out of that range. No. I guarantee, I don't know how many percent that I can guarantee, that I can affirm you that this is the process that you are going through. So, believe in it. It's just like that. I can see somehow that I can feel that your menstrual disturbance is right at this stage. I used to think that I'm gonna kill myself before. I used to think of that. So, thanks to impermanence, because of the impermanence, it will change everything. Remember that. Impermanence changes. So, even though that you don't want to change, or you wanted to change, permanence still processes on its own way. If we're in state of hardship, stress, or whatever, it will change. If you're sad, it will change. If you're happy, it will change. If you're angry, it will change. If you're compassionate, it will change. You become non-attached to all of those mental states. Then you are nothing. And that nothingness is everything. If you are attached to the carpet, you only see the carpet. If you are attached to the house, you only see the house. If you are attached to the country, you only see the country. If you are attached to the earth, you only see the earth. But if you, let's say that you attach to the space, you are everything. I'm using, parable. So, may we become non-attached. That non-attached is everything, in which you still function of who you are. And that is the beauty of life, the beauty of wisdom when we see that. Thank you.